History of Cass and the Cass Scenic Railroad. Founded in 1901 by the West Virginia Pulp and Paper Company, Cass was built as a company town to serve the needs of the men who worked in the nearby mountains cutting spruce and hemlock for the West Virginia Spruce Lumber Company, a subsidiary of the West Virginia Pulp and Paper Company. At one time, the sawmill at Cass was the largest double-band sawmill in the world. It processed an estimated 1.25 billion board feet of lumber during its lifetime. In 1901, work started on the 4 feet, 8-inch standard gauge railroad, which climbs back Allegheny Mountain. The railroad eventually reached a meadow area, now known as Whitaker Station, where a logging camp was established for the immigrants who were building the railroad. The railroad soon reached to the top of Gobbler's Knob, and then a location on top of the mountain, known as Spruce. The railroad and the West Virginia Pulp and Paper Company built a small town at that location, with about 30 company houses, a company store, a school, a hotel, a doctor's office, and a pulp mill, where the red spruce trees could be processed on the spot. The new town was named Spruce, then later renamed Old Spruce. Work soon commenced on logging the red spruce trees, which grew in the higher elevations. The West Virginia Pulp and Paper Company originally had only been interested in the red spruce for the purpose of making pulp, which would be turned into paper. It was not until several years later that the company realized that the mountain held a fortune in hardwoods, such as maple, cherry, birch, and oak. The company decided that it would build a mill in the town of Cass, which could process the hardwoods. The railroad eventually extended its track to the top of Bald Knob, the third highest mountain peak in West Virginia. The red spruce in that area was eventually logged out, and the track was torn up in the early 1910s. In June 1942, West Virginia Pulp and Paper Company sold the Cass operation to Mower Lumber Company, which operated the line until July 1, 1960, cutting second-growth timber off Cheat Mountain. The mill and railroad were shut down by Mower Lumber Company in 1960, due to the rapid decline of the timber industry in the region. Following the 1960 closure, the rail line, land, and all equipment and rolling stock were sold to a holding company named the Don Mower Lumber Company, no relation to the former Mower Lumber Company, and the railroad was conveyed to the Midwest Raleigh Corporation, which started to scrap the railroad and equipment. However, a group of local businessmen, led by Pennsylvania train enthusiast, Russell Baum, convinced the West Virginia state legislature to make the Cass Railroad a state park. In 1963, the first tourist excursion train left the Cass Depot for Whitaker Station, 4 miles north. In 1977, the Cass Scenic Railroad State Park took possession of the entire company town of Cass and the old hardwood mill there. In 2015, the Durbin and Greenbrier Valley Railroad assumed operation of the railroad under a lease agreement with the state of West Virginia.